Hi, and welcome to Spiritual Alchemy Energy, the podcast with Julie. Tonight, I have Dr. Varun Gandhi with us tonight. And let's just have you introduce yourself because I know you do a lot. So then we'll go into
Thank you, Spiritual Alchemy, love and abundance. Before I go to introducing myself, I'm going to do a little thing with the water. And essentially, this is a water ritual that I do at the very beginning of any interview, any podcast that I record. And essentially, my reminder for everyone is to drink more water, right? We don't drink enough water during our day. I've spoken to most people, and I feel like there are at least 60% diseases that people have right now can be treated by just drinking enough water. So cheers to that. Let's all just pick up our waters. Everyone listening in, tuning in right now, pick up your waters. Let's take a sip all together. Don't limit yourself. Take a as big a gulp as you want. Your body needs it. That's what the message is for you right now. And what I've realized is every time I do this, then people start reaching to their waters more often during this interview. And by the end of this interview, in 45 minutes, an hour, they would have taken 3-4 gulps that they would have not taken otherwise without this reminder. So I just want to keep that as a reminder for people always that, hey, we need water. 75% of our body is water. When we take a pill, when we take a medicine, that is only treating the 25% of our body, the solid portion. Drinking water is actually going to that 75% and really replenishing 75% of your body. And that's how it's rejuvenating your body, removing those diseases that don't really need to belong there. All right, that's my spiel about water. Now I'm going to move on to who am I. I wear multiple hats. So one of them is it's called a Life Orchestrator. And essentially what that is I really enjoy working with someone like you, Julianne, and saying, oh, you have great ideas. You have this course. Maybe you have a product. Maybe you have a service. How can we create something that people can be like, okay, I need that. And I felt like there's so many people like you who have these great services, great products that people need to find out about, but they don't know how to find out. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to, get to know about these products. So I'm a life orchestrator. I essentially take ideas, whether that is business idea, whether that is spiritual idea, like an identity about yourself, whether that is, anything, any concept, taking that and producing it into a physical product that can be sold, into a service that can be, sold to another person. So that's my life orchestrator part. I really just enjoy creating. And, this is, talking about memories. This is like a memory that I've had from when I was about 10 to 12. And at the end of the year, we have these parties, like, class party. I was born and brought up in Dubai, in the Middle East, United Arab Emirates. And so at the end of the year, every year, we would have these little class parties that we would have to organize, get all the teachers together and all the students, and let's enjoy it. So every class would have their own party. And, I took it upon myself, like, hey, I'm going to do the class party. I really enjoy orchestrating events. That's another thing. And I'm going to take it upon myself, do all the decor, find the decor, or get people organized, get people to get the decor, the food, the plates, the whole nine, games and everything, make fun, entertaining. And so I would go about planning this, but now it needed money. I needed money for decor, I needed money for food and things like that. So what I did is I created these little cards, like kind of like baseball cards, but I created it for like wrestling, like WWE, for example. With different stats about different wrestlers. And the game was, hey, let's distribute these cards. And the goal was to get all the cards back in your hand by calling out statistics where, the wrestler is the highest statistic and you get all the cards back. So that was the game. I created this little game and I sold it, on the bus, just created on literally pencil paper. That's all I did. It was like very basic, nothing fancy at all. And I would just be like $1, $2, very minimal. And this way I raised about $60, $70, $100. And I'm like, all right, this is my fund. I'm going to use this to, so this is the entrepreneurial side was always there, right? And that's this life orchestrator, like creating something and, making something out of it. Then a soulpreneur. Now, this is essentially, again, kind of similar to this, but now it's helping people spiritually as well. I've created several different products and services through my own I own my own offerings. And so that's my soulpreneurship, meditations, guided meditations, getting people out of their mind into their heart. I have an engineering background, so I'm very focused on the mind and how can people move from the mind into the heart, and so guided meditations for that. Inventor, I have created several products for cleansing the body, cleansing the mind. You can see some of them around me, the sign with the yes you can, the sign with the Sri Yantra on the other side. And these are like essentially posters that you could hang up in your office, in your rooms, to bring about, manifest something that you want in your life. And personally, these have helped for me as well, because right in front of me right now, I see something that says express yourself. And I've had that in front of me for the last 6 months. And now in this 2022, I've been putting myself in positions of expressing myself more, like this. Otherwise, last year, this time around, I would not have been in a position to be this comfortable speaking with you. I'd have all kinds of anxiety, all kinds of fears. Everything would come in the way. Meditation has helped me, come out of that. And philanthropist. So one of the things during the pandemic we started was this hot meals. So it kind of evolved into it, just like we're sending us signs. It started out with me receiving a phone call like, "Hey, it's the middle of the pandemic, April 2020. People are losing their jobs. They're losing their only source of income. They may not have meals to put on their on the table. So let's do something for that. Let's create a little one event, get some grocery items, supplies, put some bags together, and have people come into our area. They'll basically drop it into their car and they'll move on. So very safe, from COVID standpoint. And it started with a team of us, 30 of us getting together. We got all the supplies together, and we got there in the morning of put this all together. And the first week we did 400 bags. Out of that, about 300 were gone. Our first week, we realized there is a need for this. We didn't even do a lot of promoting. We didn't do a lot of marketing. We just put out some flyers into the community in the local areas. People were piling up, lining up for these meals. So we said, look, we need to do this more and more and more. So we continued it. We did it the second week. Everyone showed up. The third week, everyone showed up. And then we said, okay, look, we're going to do this. We already set up a process. What else can we do? And one of us had the idea of, hey, let's offer some hot meals, because not everyone has a place to live. I mean, we could provide them supplies, but if they don't have the stove tops to cook the rice, what are you going to do? All right, let's prepare some meals. So we found a couple ladies, elderly aunties. They volunteered themselves, like, hey, we have a kitchen. I'm going to make some meals. So we kind of were able to get together 100, 200 meals for the first few weeks. Then after that, we said, you know what? Part of the facility that we were operating out of had a kitchen. Now, this is all signs like, hey, let's go bigger. We have a full-fledged kitchen right here that can make 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 meals, like a commercial-sized kitchen. Let's utilize that. So that piece showed up. Then the kitchen team, the people who are actually going to roll up their sleeves and do the work, they showed up. We found a team who had done events in the past, like conferences, 2-day conferences, 3-day conferences. They would supply all the meals for 4,000 people, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So they already had like a well-oiled machine that could put these meals together for us. So they showed up, and we're like, this is amazing. So we put all these pieces together, and we said, all right, let's run with it. So we started doing 1,000 meals. What we did is we reached out to the local areas, organizations that are going out into the street and delivering these meals. What their pain point is, they have to prepare the meals and then go out and distribute as well. They have to do both. We said, you know what? Let's prepare the meals for you. You pick it up from our facility and you take it out onto the street and distribute it. So now we were doing these groceries and we were doing these meals, and we were putting all this together, and we did 8,000 grocery bags at the end of it, 8,400. And we stopped about 6 months later. we have still continued to this day, 2022, every Sunday to put out about 1,500 to 2,000 meals. So thus far, our total is about 179,000 meals in this about almost 2 years now.
Wow.
And it started as, hey, let's just do one day thing. Let's try it out for one day, see how it goes. And now it's evolved into this 2 years later. And every time we reach out to the community, like, hey, we need some kind of help. Maybe that's volunteers. Maybe that's more resources. Maybe that's some sort of funding. Like, hey, we're raising funds. Please donate. We have never had an issue. Always people would step up. They love what we're doing. They see what we're doing. And they said, look, we want to help you. Let us help you. They'll open their checkbooks, donate $25,000.
Wow.
Or they'll come out with their time. They'll say, look, we'll come there once a month, twice a month. We do this 4 or 5 times a month. So it's feasible for people to at least come out once a month. So we get that kind of traffic once a month. And we've never had an issue with volunteers. We've never shut down. We never had an issue with COVID. We've always continued. There were a couple of weeks that we said, okay, look, we can give the volunteers a break, our regular volunteers that are in the kitchen. Even those weeks, we reached out to the community. We said, hey, we need your help. So we need some more volunteers. So the core team and a few of us went into the kitchen. We will cook the food. And we had all the extra volunteers help us in doing the other parts. So it's continued on, and we're going to keep doing this all the way through 2022. We have made up our minds to do this till the end. We have almost done on the funding too. We have about 60% of the funding already. We have actually not even more than that, probably about 75% of the funding. We only have a little 25% of the funding left to raise to the end of the year. So we're in good shape, and we're super just excited to keep going.
Wow. How cool is that? That's so cool. It just like brings this feeling of love over you when you hear stories like that.
Yeah. And the origination story, there's something behind it as well. And it was a medium like you who helped me kind of get that, planted the seed, I would say. So what happened was I was in India right before the pandemic hit, like a few weeks before I went to India. And during that trip, I happened to come across someone. I visited this kind of little city away from the town, from the bigger city, like a little town. And one of my family members is close to this guru in that little town. And he's a recognized guru, not so much in the mainstream, but the mainstream people will go to him for advice on certain things. But you don't hear about him in common areas. So I got a chance to meet this guy. I mean, this is by chance. It wasn't planned at all. It just happened during the trip and then materialized. And now I'm in the presence of this divine energy, right? And we were talking. I was telling him what I was up to. At that point, we were kind of starting a meditation center. We had this little facility, the same facility that we were operating for the pandemic, cooking the meals. It also has a community center attached to it. So we said we were going to use this community center to create kind of a meditation center. And we had this meditation called Full Chakra Activation that we were, holding sessions every week. And this then kind of led into, the conversation then led into, okay, what else can you do? What else can you offer at this facility? Now, this was pre-pandemic. We didn't know that everything was going to shut down. He said, add in a component of hot meals, hot food. I think that'll be a great idea. Have prepared meals. People will come to you. And then once they come to you, then you can offer your meditation to them. That's the way to get people to come. And little that I know, a month later, about 6 weeks later, I get a phone call. And that began the start of this project. So that guy in India, the divine energy, planted the seed, and it materialized within 2 months.
It was just a little divine piece of awareness for you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You facilitated the rest.
Yeah. And it was beautiful.
Oh, right. I love stories like this. It's amazing. That I do want to hear about your personal journey. So you kind of, sent me this email, and, a lot of us go through some sort of crisis or questioning to steer us to a spiritual path. Where, we might have been a little spiritual before, but now 180.
Right. Yeah.
So where were you at and what were you doing before you really came to this path?
Yeah, so before I came to this path, I was in that traditional mindset of, hey, I'm going to go to high school, go to college, get an advanced degree, find a job, get married, have kids, the traditional lifestyle, right? That was kind of my path. And I got all the way up until finishing a degree. I got my Ph.D., my doctorate in water engineering. And that was my phase of an outer engineering. I was applying my talent to, engineer areas around me, engineer spaces around me. And I got into a consulting job. And I worked there for about a year. And then a year into it, so right as I was graduating my PhD, I got out of a tough relationship. Now, this relationship was the thing that kind of caused me to get into the pain and suffering mode, the challenge, right? That was the big challenge, this relationship that broke off. And once that happened, I said, I had to get away from this place. All my memories are in this city. I need to move away. That's when I got this job. It all materialized for me, and I moved to Idaho, all the way across country from Atlanta. I'd never been to Idaho. I didn't even know it existed until I went there for an interview. Uh, and but I loved it. It was beautiful, Like Idaho is mountains, high terrain. It's very gorgeous, and I would definitely recommend everyone to go there at least once in their life. So I moved out there, and this was kind of my moment of going into the cave, diving deeper into that. But initially, I was very against it. I said, I have all this pain and suffering inside of me. For 6 months, I'd wake up every morning with tears in my eyes because of that relationship. So I couldn't basically function for a lot of my time. So I had to use, and this is while I was graduating too. So I had to actually be there to work, do research, and write papers and things like that. This was my high time to function, but I couldn't. I'd wake up in so much pain, wake up in in this terror, like, oh, my life is not the same anymore. I'd have to watch Jon Stewart. At that time, he came on the Daily Show on Comedy Central. So I'd watch his show to bring a smile on my face, and that's how I would start my day. And then I would start writing and doing all the PhD work that I needed to graduate. So this carried on for 6 months. I graduated, moved there, and now I was alone. I had no excuse. Removed all of the distractions, everything. I was far away from everything that I'd known at that moment in my life. But I was still running away from it. I didn't want to do it. I would drink alcohol. Every weekend we would party, kill myself, drown the pain, whatever I could do. And that continued all the way for a year. And I was working at this job. And throughout this time, I'd also been thinking, like, what are you doing here? Like, what is that? Purpose. That word purpose started coming up in my mind and in my questioning and my curiosity. And about a year and a few months into this job, I started having pains in my solar plexus. So this is now the start of another journey, where as I was having these pains, I'd wake up in the morning with the pain, and now before I'd even step foot off my bed, I'd have these pains in my solar plexus, and it grew over time, gradually. It started off small, eventually it was there, like right in my face. I couldn't get away from it. So I sat down with the pain. I had no choice but to sit down with the pain and say, look, I had to ask it questions, be curious about it. What's going on, right? And that was all kind of unconsciously was happening. I would do it, but I wasn't consciously, like I wasn't very intentional at that time, very conscious at that time. So I would ask these questions. And the one thing that came up is, what are you doing at this job? Why are you going every morning, waking up, going to this job that you don't really care about? What difference are you making in this world? There's something greater out there for you. And I realized at some point, like I was only making maybe 0.2% of a difference in the grand scheme of things. Like it wasn't very significant at all. And there was something there for me, the greater than this. And I knew it at that time, but it was this solar plexus pain that was the message. That was the message of the pain, that there's something greater out there for you. Now, I was also going through my pain and suffering. And at this time, I picked up this book called Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra. And it's somewhere back here on the shelf. It's a great book. At that time, I was very, very new to spirituality. I didn't know any of these concepts that he was talking about in the book. So 95% of the book went over my head. That 5%, that little bit that I picked up, meditation stuck with me. Meditation was the word that kind of stuck with me. And I started researching, what is meditation? Asking questions again. My curiosity peaked up. All right, there's something here. And this kind of led me into starting my own meditation practice. So once I moved back to Atlanta, I left my career behind. I gave a 5-week notice. That was the best day of my life. I realized the pain in my solar plexus dropped at that moment. It was gone because I made that decision, turned in my notice like, hey, I'm done. And usually you turn in like a 2-week notice, 3-week notice. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm going to do a 5-week notice. I just submitted it early and the pain suddenly dropped away. Now I moved to Atlanta and started my own meditation practice. The start of the meditation practice was rough, to say the least. You know, at that time, my mind was like the waves, very turbulent. At the top of the ocean is always very turbulent, right? No matter where you go. And that's how my mind was, very, very turbulent. And it took meditation to slowly dive deeper and deeper and sink deeper and deeper into the depths of the ocean where that stillness is there, right? And so this was, again, years of practice. Like after 5 years, I was able to get to that point, but dedicated practice. And so meditation I got deeper and deeper. I tried out different kinds of meditation. Initially, I started out with, at that time, I was renting out a place in my friend's apartment, and it was a single one room. I had all my stuff, all of my belongings was in that room. And I said, you know what, I'm going to sit in the corner, face the corner so that all of my belongings are behind me. I have no distractions, no excuses. And I'm going to face that corner. I'm going to journal. I'll take a book, start writing about my experience before, during, and after. Write about it. Whatever comes up, just note it down. Put the time, start time, end time. And this time I said, I'm only going to do 5 minutes. That was more than enough. Just 5 minutes, I'm going to sit there. And initially, first few months, I couldn't even make it to 5 minutes. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I would give up. Sometimes even the next day, I wouldn't show up. Fear would come inside of me, like, what is this? Why are you doing this? It's not working. But I would come back to it the second day, the third day, come back to it the next week. At some point, I would come back to it, and I kept doing it. So then I got to a point where I did 1 month of meditation. Every day I would do about 5 minutes. I would set my target of 5 minutes. Whenever I would be done with it, I would be done with it and get up. It would probably have been like 2 minutes, and I'd be done with it. So initially, my mind would have questions, and it would say, okay, how much time has gone, right? So I would look at the watch, be like, 30 seconds are up only. Oh, come on, I got so long to go. So then I created this tactic that I'm going to set my phone to the side, set a 5-minute timer on my phone. That way I don't have any questions. When 5 minutes are up, my phone's going to let me know. So I don't have to constantly think like, how much time's up? Is this done yet? That's out. And I set my phone to the side on moon mode, no disturbance. Now this way, all of my distractions were out of my sight. No excuses. I had to be there. I had to sit there. And this is how I started my meditation practice. Now, initially, I would focus on the dot on the wall in that corner. I would create one and just focused on that with my eyes open. Then I slowly closed my eyes and focused on a dot, imaginary dot inside of my eyes. And then focused on a flame, imaginary flame. And then slowly I got into YouTube, looking at videos, using guided meditations, dove deeper into it. Finally, I came to this chakras and this whole world of, and I also met my current business partner, Guru, who had created this full chakra activation. His name is Chakra Doctor. And so him and I went down to create a whole bunch of products that are kind of all around me. But we started out with this full chakra activation. And even there's a story behind that. So a few weeks before I officially met him, or first time we had an interaction, I was meditating. And at this time I was gotten to a point where I would meditate for hours on end. And so I would sit there at 9 o'clock, and I'd kind of come out of it by 11, 12 o'clock. And then I would take a little break, again, come back to it 1 o'clock. It was like a 9 to 5 job. And I would do as much meditation I could during that time. And this was solitude time. I was all by myself in a room, and I had a journal, writing, had some books that I was reading, but it was all me time. And during this time, when I was closing my eyes, meditating one of these days, and I felt this energy. It was like one of my chakras were activating, and I started like feeling sensations inside of me. I was like, oh, there's something over here. And a couple of weeks later, so during this time, I was heavily into this, like orchestration for other, entrepreneurs, for other soulpreneurs. So I was kind of partnering up with someone like you and finding ways to promote your services, right? And I would put up ads on Craigslist. So I'd put up something on Craigslist like, hey, I'm a marketing for soulpreneurs. And I was this whole few weeks of stretch. I would put these ads up every day, so to refresh it, renew it, and then I stopped. I was like, oh, it's not working. I'm not going to do it. And then a couple of weeks later, or about a month later, I get an email or a phone call that, hey, I want to meet up with you. I saw this ad on Craigslist. I just was scrolling on there. I saw that you're marketing for soulpreneurs. I'm interested. Now I happened to be in Atlanta at that time visiting my parents. So I didn't really pick up. I was in a different mode of like vacation. I think I was there for a wedding or something. So I was like, I'm going to deal with this later. I heard the voicemail a week later. And finally, when I got back to LA, I gave him a call and we finally met up. And we met up on the beach. And this was like, he said, look, I want to do the full chakra activation for you. I was like, what is that? He's like, don't worry about it. Just lay down and I'll do it for you. Just follow along. And this was the same energy that I felt a few weeks ago. I was back to it. I was like, oh, this is familiar. I just felt this not too long ago. And so it's kind of like synchronicity, I felt something, and then the guru who was teaching me more about full chakras and what they are, and then had created this whole technique on how you can constantly be in touch with it and constantly be, activated at all times. It's just, how does that happen, right? But you put that energy out there and it'll come back to you. And that's what happened in my case.
You're really good at that too.
At some point I was unconsciously doing it, but now I'm very conscious about it. What energies I have around me, what I'm talking, everything. I'm very conscious about everything that I have around me now.
I think you have the gift of manifestation too. So you just, your frequency probably is already tuned to that and has been. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about, you were doing this at what, 10, 12 years old?
Yeah.
It's your purpose, part of your purpose, right?
It is. Yeah. I realized that a lot later on, that this, that memory was still there with me 20 years later. There has to be something there for you. And one of the things that came to me is like, hey, you are an entrepreneur. You have that spirit inside of you. You showed it way early on. You may have lost it. You may have been programmed by society to think that, oh, I need this job, I need this stable career to make me happy. But no, it was that creation that made me happy.
Okay, so going back to your activation, what was this like? What was this experience like?
That experience, it grew over me. Initially, that exercise was, I didn't feel a whole lot. I felt certain sensations throughout my body, but I couldn't feel all my chakras because my vocal chakra was way blocked. And this was about 5 years ago now. My vocal chakra was way blocked at that point. I wasn't able to, feel that. I wasn't able to feel my solar plexus. And I felt like that. I think that also shut off at some point. And so this was kind of activating all of these energies again. But I would feel my heart chakra. I would feel my my sacral chakra. My root chakra would be on and off. Foundationally, I wasn't very stable at that point either. But yeah, it took me a lot of activating. So once I discovered it, once I figured out how to do it, and he kind of, guided me through it many times, then I was able to do it myself. And now I do these meditations and guide others through these meditations as well. But it took me, let's say, about 3 years to really, really start feeling all of them activate, start feeling these energies. Me getting, again, my mind is so active, the thought is so active that you have to get out of it to be able to access these energies. And most of my time, when I'm creating, I have a creation session, but then I go into it afterwards and then apply, like my breaking down skills and, intellectual skills, and kind of break it down. So I apply a lot of my mind or like thought in my day to day. So I've kind of have to use meditation to come out of it and go back into my body and become one with me before I go into bed. And so I do this ritual at nighttime where I close my eyes and imagine that I'm floating in outer space, and that there's nothing around me. It's just darkness. Everything that is attached to me that I pick up during the day starts dropping away. All those thoughts just drop away, and and then I start relaxing my body. And that's the meditation I do right before I go into bed. And this way I'm kind of a clean slate when I get into bed, that way my dreams are not affected by it. My subconscious is not being programmed by that energy. And at times, again, I do visualization exercises for manifestation at this point. So now I'm infusing my subconscious with all these images that I really want to carry into my sleep.
Fantastic. I kind of do the same sort of thing. So that's awesome. Yeah. So should we take a drink of water?
Yes, let's do it. All right.
From there, where did that take you on your path?
So on my path personally, it meditation opened up a lot of doors for me. I was able to be able to sit down with myself. So when I first started meditating, up until that point, I was essentially on that wheel. I was that hamster running constantly on that wheel. I had never taken this time to sit down with myself and not think about, okay, what do I have to do right now? Not think about what's the next thing, right? I never had that chance. It was always from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, from school to homework to sleep to studying. It was on and on and on, nonstop. And now I finally had this time, like, okay, meditation was that time and space for me to just be with myself. And so now, again, 7 years later, meditation is my sessions for self-introspection. What happened during the day? Because maybe there are times that I'm unconscious during the day. So this is my time let me put my awareness onto everything that happened during the day and learn something from it. There's lessons there for me. Times that I'm in fear, situations that put me, like this situation 6 months ago, I would be in a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety 20 minutes before this interview started. And so it's taken that amount of work to come out of the fear. And then it's implementation of it, right? So I do the manifestation, I do the visualizations. Okay, there's no fear while I'm visualizing myself in this interview, in my visualization. And then, okay, now let's implement this. Let's start putting myself in these situations. So the last 3-4 months, I've been interviewing as much as I can, going on all of these different platforms, different podcasts. And every interview, I've learned something new about myself. I've put myself out there. I've found better ways to communicate, for one, better ways to tell the same stories so that it's intriguing, so that it's capturing, and then sharing new insights. Right now, as I'm speaking, I'm coming up with some insights and sharing that. But then these will stick to me for the next interview. So I'll be able to carry that in with me into that interview and share those insights there. This water ritual it had come out from this whole, let me put myself out there and get onto these different podcasts. I said, you know what, when I initially first started on, I was like, I want to have some kind of ritual that I do at the very beginning. Before I even say anything about myself, who am I, what my journey is, what my story is, let's remind people to drink water. Because another thing is my name, Varuna, is a god of the ocean. And so water has always been around me. And then I've done my Ph.D. in water treatment. And now I call myself as a water doctor, in the sense of reminding people to drink more water so that you could treat yourself. So I had that as part of my sort of title, if you want to call it. But yeah, it's led into meditation. Then has opened doors for me. My vocal chakra has opened up. So now I'm able to conduct these interviews. Again, I realized that I started interviews in 2017. In the summer of 2017, I went through a phase of, hey, I'm going to record some videos. So I put that out. It was only 1 month, and then I took a break from it. Now, this is like, I put in all of this energy, but there was a lot of friction at that moment. So then I had to take a step back and now recoup my energy. So I took a whole year break. So June 2017, I put out some videos. June 2018, I said, okay, I'm going to do some interviews. So I did 3, 4, 5 interviews. Again, put in a lot of energy, had a lot of friction, a lot of uneasiness. And then I stopped it. I said, okay, I'm going to take a break. And then again, I took a break, came back to it in May 2019, created some videos. Again, I took a break. And then May 2020, finally, I said, all right, now I'm going to do something. Pandemic hit. I'm going to create this series. So I created a whole series of different topics, talking and bringing a panel together and discussing these topics. So like mental health or women's abuse. I had women's abuse. I had men's abuse. Covered both sides of it. And then, all these different topics, brought three to 5 different people, experts on these different topics, and covered different perspectives. So like mental health, we had someone who was a meditation, like a healer like you. Then we had someone who was a therapist. Then we had an attorney. We had someone who had a mental health challenge. So everyone, different spectrums covering, sharing their story. So it's kind of giving a 360 view of all these different topics. So I did that. And this time I said, I lasted from June 2020 all the way to December 2020. I did it every 2 weeks, so twice a month. So I had about 10 topics that I did. I was super happy, super excited about it. And then after that, I said the next season, I kind of wanted to change things up. So I started doing interviews again. So I took a 6-month break, much shorter this time. And instead, I took a much shorter break. And again, I started in May 2021 and doing these interviews. So always around that May, June time, I start putting in energy into it. But now these times, the last few times I've done it, I've actually done it for much longer than just 2 or 3 videos. I put 10 episodes in the first season, and then about 24 episodes in the second season. And now I'm on to starting season 3, and I've already done 3, 4 episodes. I'm on to the 5th one. But from now on, I've done so much of that work, opened up so much of my vocal chakra, that I'm excited doing these interviews. I'm excited having these conversations, sharing my truth, and also learning about other people through these interviews when I do them. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey of putting myself out there and just self-expression.
And your podcast is called?
It's called What's Your Story? And
What's Your Story? I love that name.
Yeah, and essentially it is, right now I'm focusing on the South Asian population because I feel like I'm, again, sharing my story that, I've focused so much on that engineering, that being programmed by society, that you have to have certain kind of doctor, attorney, certain kind of jobs, certain kind of positions in society, and only then you'll be called successful. I kind of want to break that and, show people that, hey, you could also become an artist. You could also become a writer. You could become an author. There's so many other things out there for you that you can manifest for yourself. You're not stuck to only these 10 professions. And that's my idea for the South Asian population. So I've focused all of my energies on bringing politicians, bringing all these people who are doing different things. Maybe humanitarians. They have, someone like putting these meals together or helping other people in India, raising funds and things like that. So it's covering all these different topics that are not normally covered. Also having hard conversations like colorism or mental health or providing clean water in India. That's my next topic coming up tomorrow. And yesterday was World Water Day, and then tomorrow I'm having this conversation about how this one company is solving the clean water issue in India.
Wow, very cool. It's
Yeah.
so aligned with who and what you are, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I've realized that we can mold ourselves into whomever and whoever we want to be. And that is essentially my message through this What's Your Story, is that whatever you decide, whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve it. Whether that's, you want to make social change, you want to make change in the politics, you want to, be a leader that's making spiritual change, whatever that may be, if you have the idea that came to you, then you have the capacity to make that idea into a reality for yourself. And that's essentially my main message through What's Your Story.
I'm just like over here getting chills. Like, I like what this guy has to say. I like what he's saying. It's very aligned with even just an hour ago, I was watching someone else that was doing a live, and they were talking about coming from the heart. So this is very much heart-based work that you're doing, and it's very beautiful.
And that's been my journey of going from the head to the heart.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested. Are you having your spiritual block party this year?
That is a good question. I have not really planned for it. I'm in California, so things have been kind of quiet. Now in the last few months, they're starting to open up. 2022 has been a lot better in California. So I may do it later this year. Now, the other part is that I may also not have time to do it because I am going to be a father in 3 months. My first baby. Thank you. So that's going to take up a lot of my time coming up.
Okay. Well, we'll let you slide on this party.
So the first block party was in February 2020, and it was February 15th. And then the week after, I flew to India. That's where I met the guru in India. And then I come back and everything shut down within a week. And since then, I haven't had a chance to do a spiritual block party. I had one year I did a virtual spiritual block party where I did it online on Zoom. And we had about 6 different practitioners come in every hour to do their craft and guide people through meditation or whatever that may be. And that was a great success as well. But not as much fun as the live spiritual block party.
Right. You really get that connection with other people and feel the energy when you are in doing it.
Yeah.
And so what else do you have going on here? You've got the center still. You're still doing meals. You're doing meditations and other types of healing there. Is that true?
Not so much at the center. We're doing it more online now. Throughout the pandemic, we went on to Zoom. And so we do meditation sessions on Zoom. And now I'm starting to think about doing at least one event a month at the center to do these full chakra activation events, possibly part of What's Your Story interview as well. Do a live interview with someone and then guide them through meditation after, have those kind of events. So I'm starting to plan those, and that may be coming up in the next couple of months or so.
Well, I don't want to pressure you. You're going to be a daddy and you're going to lose sleep.
Yeah. That's
reality.
I'm just going to have to find ways to catch up on sleep or just
somehow get sleep in your meditation.
Yeah.
So you have a bunch of topics here that you sent.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of covered some of them. Quit my 9 to 5 to pursue no thing.
That's the essence of, removing all of the programming, right? We have all of this stuff that's part of us, that's in us, that we don't realize is there. All these beliefs, all these perspectives, ways of looking at life. And through my meditation, I was doing my meditation for like a 9 to 5 for at least a month or 2 months. And during this time, I was really purging out all of those beliefs, really finding out all these things about myself, and starting to remove them from myself. And it got to the point of just clearing everything out, removing everything, and just being nothing in particular.
So, and this took some time. It just didn't, right?
Oh, it was a journey. It was a process of 5-6 years of meditating constantly.
And you're probably still becoming aware of different things still. So I know I am.
A lot of things are coming up. Yeah. They're always there. As I go through more new experiences, I'll learn new things about myself. And, so putting myself in all these different places and spots, and just finding out as much as I can about myself. Yeah. I think the key thing there is to be introspective. At the end of the day, have this reflection session, or end of the week, have a reflection session. Go through your, the whole week and understand what happened. Find ways, there are lessons hidden there, insights that are there that you can learn as long as you sit down with yourself and go through an exercise.
Or just being aware of the situations that are coming to you, that are around you, and go, oh, well, this is kind of a pattern. These are very similar.
Right.
And what do you need to learn here? Right.
And they may be in different aspects of your life. So kind of making those connections.
Yeah.
Realizing those patterns.
So it's kind of interesting. You brought up, you were 10, 12 years old and you were doing this. You were probably thinking about that for some time before that too. So, I'm working on a book. Somebody asked me, well, what happened to you when you were 8 years old? So I went back and I'm like, this is everything that was going on. It's like, I don't know, but so I started writing this book. And the thing that I wanted to do was, have people go back to that age, to their younger self. Mm-hmm. What's your passion? What did you want to grow up to be before you got programmed to say, oh, you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be a lawyer, or you're just going to be a mom. When I was brought up, that was kind of the thing. So I wanted to be an author, and now, I've gone back and I've reflected on everything, and it's like, that's something that, I do in my work. It's like, what's your passion? What are your interests? Go for it. That's what you need to be doing.
Right. That's what's going to put me at ease and bring me joy.
Exactly. And abundance, right?
And abundance. Yes.
So that was the bottom line of my story, but then it went way off the rails somewhere else. You talk about awakening. That's a trip. So
that is yeah.
Is there anything? We got about 10 minutes left here.
Okay.
Okay. You do a cleanse. Why people are loving the miracle food cleanse that you provide or developed?
Yes. So the miracle food cleanse is a 15-day morning cleanse, and we call it the miracle food morning ritual. And essentially, the miracle food is a set of 5 superfoods. They're oils combined, blended into each other, along with the powder. And this is, and you take a shot of this every morning. So that's the first part of the cleanse. Along with that, you will take a tea. This is a tea that consists of 9 different herbs that came from South America. And we'll make a tea out of this. This tea lasts you 15 days. So every day you'll drink 8 ounces of this tea. So take the shot, sip the tea. You can serve it warm or cold. And then you'll take a fruit and drink some water. So that's a miracle food morning ritual. And what it's supposed to do is it's an intracellular cleanse. So once you're drinking this, it goes inside of you, cleanses out your colon, removes all of that junk that's been stored in there. Some people have 20, 30 pounds of stuff sitting in there over years and years of eating junk food. So this will go into it, start cleaning it out, flushing it out, removing all of this. This will remove the toxins that are in your system. It'll go into your cells intracellularly and flush them out, clean out all of these toxins. This is an oil based. So what it does is it's a lubricant for your body, lubricating your knees, lubricating your joints. And this whole essentially is the cleanse is a way of rejuvenating yourself, removing all of those energies that are bringing you down, that are stuck in your body. And part of it, now the next part of it that I'm creating at this point in time is, okay, once you're done removing all this stuff, what can we add to the system? How can we build the system up? So here I'm bringing Ayurveda into it and including some Ayurvedic herbs in capsules and creating kind of, like energy boosters. There'll be like a male energy booster, female energy booster, and then something for like neem and turmeric herbs are really good for the system. So having that in the morning. So these are different products that I'm creating right now. Something for the healthy skin, for healthy hair, all of the Ayurvedic herbs. And this is going to infuse your body with all this great stuff.
Okay, so once you have all of this put together, where can people find it? On your
Miracle Food is available right now already. That's live. We started that in 2020 and 2021. We took it to the market, and it's available on drvarungandhi.com on my website, which you have right there. So that along with the Miracle Food bundle comes with 4 different products. One is the tea, one is a set of oil. You get a guide with it, a recipe book as well. This is a 30-day guide, which has recipes of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, of raw food, vegan, plant-based. And it'll help you if you have any kind of diseases. It'll help you enhance the Miracle Food experience. So you could change your diet for the period of this time. And this way you will remove all diseases, flushing out diseases from your body as well. So yeah, you can go to the physical cleanse. The spiritual cleanse is all of these different sages and these different kits with essential oil and Palo Santo. The physical cleanse has anything to do with the physical body cleansing, and this is the Miracle Food bottle. These are the benefits of the different herbs that are in there, different superfoods. It's a little video, some testimonial video.
I love it. I love it.
And these are the different products. So you could buy the Miracle Food by itself. The first one is Miracle Food Platinum. So this is a new one that we released in 2022. And this is a combination. I still have to take some pictures, but this is essentially a combination of the Miracle Food bundle that you see in the middle picture, all those products, along with 7 other products that we just created this year. That includes colloidal gold. That includes colloidal silver, nascent iodine. You can see all these products right here: colloidal gold, colloidal silver. You also get it individually, and it comes as part of that Miracle Food Platinum bundle. And essentially, all of these are for cleansing your body. You add all of them together, and you can make a very good cleanse that will remove all these substances, toxins from your body. This is the Miracle Food ingredients, the 4 or 5 different products that are in there. All of them are oils.
Wow.
So we created this in 2020, and during the pandemic, actually right before the pandemic, we created this, and we tested it on ourselves first. We said, look, we should be the first guinea pigs. So we tried it on ourselves, me and the Chakra doctor. We said, and we gave it to a few people around us as well. And all of us saw some signs that there's some benefits from this, there's improvement in our bodies. So then we were able to say, okay, let's create this, bottle it, put label on it, and take it to the market. So we took it to the market. End of Thanksgiving 2020 is when we kind of released it. And December 2020 all the way through 2021, we ran with this product. We did great, had great response. So this is our second year with this product. And then we said, look, we have opportunity here to increase to have more products, add more cleansing type products to our system. So 2022, we said, let's take that on and let's create this whole 7 new products. We know how to sell this one product. We can add more to our arsenal and go bigger. And all of these have benefits individually as well. You could take the colloidal gold by itself and you'll see benefits. You could take colloidal silver by itself. Silver is known as one of the best antimicrobials. So any kind of microbes in your body, bacteria, fungus, viruses, it'll take care of it. So we created that, and then now we're that was January, February of 2022, so it just happened. We released this in March, early this month. And then now March and April, my focus is let's bring Ayurveda into it. The first set of products was mainly focused on, had African spirituality into it, like black seed oil. We had a little bit of Indian herbs in there, like moringa. But now I said, you know what? I want to bring in Indian herbs. Let's focus on Ayurveda and let's bring in all of these goodness into healing, and let make it known that all of these different things can be done herbally. You don't need pharmaceuticals for these things. You don't need Viagra. We have the Viagra for you.
Right. It's natural.
Natural, exactly. And you're not putting any chemicals into your body. It's all herbs.
Right. Wow. That's impressive. That is very impressive.
It's been a journey, right? It's us. First we came across black seed oil, and then we came across moringa oil, and then we came across beetroot capsules, like beetroot powder in a capsule form. And then we came across CBD. And we said, well, let's see what happens when we combine all of this. And so we combined everything and we started taking it for ourselves. And that's how this kind of was birthed. And
were you all in the kitchen going,
yeah. We're like,
not scientists in the lab.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, this threw me back to my my scientist days, my PhD days, when we were doing this experiments in the lab. Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful. How fun. Oh, wow. So what's a normal day for you like? I mean, obviously some meditation and some miracle food here.
Yeah, I start off my day with so my meditations have evolved over time. Now I'm into chanting Om as my meditation. So the first thing in the morning, I wake up, shower, take care of that, cleanse my body, and then I sit down and chant Om 21 times. And the way I do it is, so I break it down into 3 different sounds: the ah, the oo, and then the And when you're chanting each of these sounds, the ah is, you'll feel it in the bottom 3 chakras, or at least the 2 chakras. The ooh, the middle sound, you'll feel it in the middle of your body, your solar plexus and your heart chakra. And your you'll feel it on the vocal and all the way into your crown. And so this essentially is activating my energies first thing in the morning through chanting Om. So once I do that, then I do some breathing exercises, and I breathe into different parts of my body using different hand positions, mudras, to kind of enhance the energy in certain parts of my body. So this is kind of like a 20-minute process that I do in the morning. And then I get into my day. My morning time I've set aside for creativity, any kind of video creation, any kind of, anything that's to do with creativity is all done in my morning time. My afternoon time, evening time is my afternoon time is for grunt work. If I have to do some kind of research that, go something online, or it's just taking a lot of time, like social media posting, doing these interviews, I do it in the afternoon. Set aside that time for those 3 hours. Then I go for a walk, get some physical exercise, and then I have my dinner. And sometimes I'm working at nighttime as well. Maybe some last minute stuff that I have to take care of, something that came up during the day that I hadn't handled, answering emails, things like that. I take care of it in the evening. And right now, we're pregnant, so I put my wife to sleep. She probably goes to bed like 9 o'clock, and then 9:30 maybe, and then I come back down and I get my nightly meditation in at that time. That's my solitude time, and just focus on myself, listening to some videos, some positive messages, affirmations. Sometimes whatever the body feels like. Sometimes I'm chanting, and I'm doing it right here in this space.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Is there anything you want to share with the audience before we go? Any big messages?
Yeah, one last thing I think is drink more water.
Start and finish with that. Let's drink some water. Cheers.
Cheers.
Definitely reminded me to drink some water.
Yeah, I think you'll remember this tomorrow as well.
Yes, I will. And I want to thank you for being here tonight. It was such a pleasure to have you share your story with us and my audience, my viewers, my listeners, my future viewers. It will resonate with people. Your message will resonate with people and stay with them.
Oh, thank you so much. Love and abundance, everyone. I appreciate everyone. Thank you.
And everybody can catch me Saturday night, 7, doing free readings.